Justin Herbert walked into the luxury boutique, his eyes scanning the rows of designer watches and suits. It was just another trip. He wanted to find something unique. But as soon as he entered, the manager's gaze locked onto him. "Can I help you?" she asked, her tone almost dismissive. Justin, calm and polite, nodded. "Just browsing." The manager glanced him up and down, a small sneer forming on her face. "We don't serve people like you here," she said coldly. The room fell silent. Justin turned to leave, but what happened next would leave everyone stunned. The boutique was known for its exclusivity. Its polished interior, with sleek glass shelves and gold accents, catered to a clientele of millionaires, celebrities, and business moguls. The manager, a woman in her mid-40s, was accustomed to luxury and elegance. She had built a reputation for herself as someone who only served the most powerful and influential people. Justin Herbert, the rising star quarterback, wasn't her typical customer. Though he had earned millions in his career, his humble demeanor and laid-back style made him blend into the background at first glance. When Justin entered the store, he wasn't expecting anything special. He just wanted to pick out a unique watch that he had seen online. But as he made his way through the showroom, he could feel eyes on him. At first, he shrugged it off. A few customers glanced his way. It was normal for people to notice a professional athlete. But the manager's reaction was different. She wasn't just glancing at him, she was scrutinizing him, as if she was deciding whether he belonged. He approached the counter, looking at a few options when she finally spoke. "Can I help you?" she asked, her tone sharp and judgmental. "I'm just looking for a watch," Justin replied, trying to stay relaxed. She looked him up and down, pausing before responding. "I'm afraid we don't serve people like you here." The words hit him like a punch. He froze. He had been dismissed before, especially in high-end spaces, but this felt different. The manager's tone was full of condescension, and her eyes made it clear that she didn't think he belonged there. Justin paused, unsure of how to react. He had been in plenty of situations where people underestimated him because of his age or appearance. But this time, he wasn't going to let it slide. He stood tall, his face calm, but there was a fire burning inside him. Instead of walking away, he decided to do something that would shake the whole room. Justin Herbert stood there for a moment, frozen. The boutique, with its polished floors and designer displays, suddenly felt suffocating. The manager's words echoed in his mind. "We don't serve people like you here." He wasn't angry, not yet. But there was something in her dismissive tone that made him feel smaller than he had ever felt before. The crowd around them continued their conversations, as though they hadn't noticed the tension building between him and the manager. He turned slowly and walked toward the exit, trying to maintain his composure. But the whispering behind him was unmistakable. The manager and a few other staff members were looking at him with a mix of amusement and pity. Justin felt his blood boiling. This wasn't just about being refused service, it was about being judged before he even had the chance to prove himself. He could feel the weight of their assumptions, the idea that someone like him didn't belong in a place like this. He reached for the door, but stopped just before he opened it. A wave of determination washed over him. Enough was enough. Justin turned back around. The room grew quiet as he walked back toward the counter where the manager was still standing, a slight smirk on her face. She thought he would walk out. She thought he would let it slide, but he wasn't going to. He calmly approached the counter again. The manager raised an eyebrow, clearly surprised by his return. "Are you sure you want to stay?" she asked with a hint of mockery. Instead of responding immediately, Justin pulled out his phone and started recording. He held it up, capturing the boutique and the manager in the frame. "This," he said, looking directly into the camera, "is what happens when you judge people based on their appearance and assumptions. You treat someone like they don't belong simply because of what they look like." The manager's smirk faded as she realized what was happening. Let's be clear, Justin continued, his voice steady but powerful. I came in here to buy something, but because of who you think I am, you decided I wasn't good enough. Well, I'm here to make sure the world knows how you treat people. The room fell silent, and for the first time that day, the manager had no words. The room was frozen in silence as Justin continued recording. His calm voice contrasted sharply with the tension that had taken over the space. The manager stood behind the counter, her face flushed with discomfort. Maybe you didn't realize this, Justin said, holding the phone out for the world to see. But there's more to a person than the clothes they wear or the brand they carry. I don't need to prove anything to you, but I'm going to make sure people know what kind of place this is. He paused, letting his words sink in. The manager opened her mouth, ready to dismiss him, but no words came out. Does this store truly believe that it's okay to treat people like this? Justin asked, turning his attention back to the camera. He looked directly at the manager, his eyes unwavering. Do you think you can get away with discriminating against people because of who they are? I don't need this boutique, but you need people like me. The silence was deafening, with the exception of the clicking of Justin's phone recording. Then, as if on cue, the entire room seemed to exhale at once. The manager's confidence had disappeared, and the staff standing behind the counter exchanged uneasy glances. The couple of customers who were nearby watched in disbelief. Justin lowered his phone and turned around, ready to leave, but he wasn't done. With a steady hand, he pulled out his wallet and tossed a few bills onto the counter. I'll pay for the drink I had earlier, he said, calmly and with a hint of defiance. But the rest of the day? You don't get my business, and I will make sure others know why. As he walked toward the door, Justin paused for a moment and looked back. He didn't say a word, but his glance spoke volumes. The manager had been put in her place, and it wasn't just because Justin had challenged her. It was because he had done so with grace and dignity, and he had made it clear that he wouldn't tolerate disrespect, no matter where it came from. As Justin walked out, the air in the boutique felt heavy, and the murmurs from the customers began to grow louder. The moment had been captured, and now, everyone was watching. As Justin stepped out of the boutique, the door closed behind him with a soft click, but inside, the atmosphere had completely shifted. The room had gone from casual indifference to a thick, uncomfortable silence. The manager stood frozen, her expression a mixture of shock and embarrassment. The customers who had witnessed the exchange were whispering among themselves, some nodding in agreement with Justin, others uncertain of what had just transpired. It wasn't long before one of the other customers stood up. He had been sitting in the back of the store, a businessman in a crisp suit who had been quietly observing. He walked toward the counter where the manager was still standing and placed his hand on the edge. That was not right, the man said quietly, but firmly. You treat a person like that? The manager, still trying to regain her composure, opened her mouth, but the words didn't come. I'm going to tell everyone I know about this, the man continued, his voice low but filled with anger. No one should ever be treated like that, not even him. Before the manager could respond, he turned and walked out of the store, pulling his phone from his pocket. Others in the store were already pulling out their phones, some silently recording, others posting on social media. The story had already spread. Within minutes, a post appeared online that went viral. It featured the video Justin had recorded in the boutique, along with a caption, "This is what happens when you judge someone based on assumptions. Justin Herbert refused to let this boutique treat him with disrespect, and now the world will know." The post was shared thousands of times within the first hour. It wasn't just the video of Justin standing his ground. It was the way he had handled the entire situation with grace and dignity, refusing to let anyone walk all over him. The boutique owner was quick to react. An hour after the video went viral, the store issued a public apology on their social media accounts, stating they were investigating the incident and would be making changes to ensure it would never happen again. But the damage had been done. The apology, while sincere, didn't erase the treatment Justin had faced. The world had seen the disrespect, and now the boutique's reputation was permanently tarnished. Meanwhile, the internet rallied behind Justin, with fans and even other celebrities praising him for his response and for taking a stand. What no one had expected was that this moment would spark a much larger conversation, one about how people in positions of power treat others and how often those in the public eye face unfair judgment based on nothing but their appearance or status. By the time Justin Herbert stepped out of the luxury boutique, the story had already gone viral. It started with a single tweet from one of his fans. Justin Herbert was just disrespected at a luxury boutique. Watch what he did next. Respect. Boycott luxury store. From there, it exploded. Thousands of tweets, Instagram stories, and TikTok videos began circulating the internet. The video of Justin's calm but assertive response to the manager's discrimination was watched by millions, and the hashtag #BoycottLuxuryStore started trending worldwide. On Twitter, athletes from various sports began to share their thoughts. LeBron James tweeted, "This is what leadership looks like, not letting anyone walk over you, no matter who they are or where they come from. Respect at Justin Herbert." NFL stars like Russell Wilson and Tyreek Hill chimed in, praising Justin's ability to handle the situation with grace. But it wasn't just athletes who supported him. Fans, celebrities, and even non-sports figures took to social media to voice their outrage. One of the most viral responses came from a well-known entrepreneur who posted, "This is exactly why we need to be better. No one should ever feel they're not good enough because of their appearance. Justin Herbert just showed the world how it's done." Meanwhile, people shared their own stories of being judged or treated unfairly by high-end stores, often because of their appearance or background. Many individuals began speaking out against elitism and the entitlement that some businesses had towards their customers. The luxury boutique, meanwhile, was under fire. Their initial apology was met with skepticism, as people questioned how such behavior could have taken place in the first place. Sales plummeted. The company lost sponsorships and had to retract deals with brands. The owner issued multiple public apologies, but it was clear that the damage was done. What started as an isolated incident quickly became a symbol of a much larger issue: how society often marginalizes people based on appearances, and how those in power must be held accountable for their actions. By the end of the week, Justin Herbert had not only shut down the disrespect, but had sparked a much-needed conversation about fairness, respect, and the power of standing up for oneself. And as for the boutique, their reputation was forever changed, and not in a way they could recover from any time soon. Justin Herbert never raised his voice, and yet he shut down a whole system of elitism with one powerful action. He didn't just prove his worth, he stood up for what's right, showing that respect is earned, not assumed based on looks or status. Some people hide behind their status. Others change the world by standing up for others. Justin, he did both. What do you think? Was Justin right to call out the boutique? Comment below. Like, share, and subscribe for more powerful NFL stories.